this comes from owner Patrick Dumont, who alluded to Luka not working hard and not having a singular focus to win. I mean, that's just work ethic, isn't it? He cited character and culture. This is from the Mavs over, Chandler. How you feeling about this one?
Yeah, I think it's a little strange, right? He's obviously new to the NBA business. He's mega successful in other aspects. He's a, casino real estate mogul who married into the Adelson family, and he knows his stuff. But this is a whole new world for him, and clearly he's got a voice in his head, which clearly I think that we all know it's Nico, and he hasn't been there that long to kind of have this opinion on Luka. And I really don't think this narrative is fair for Luka. Look at the success he's had. Look at the numbers he has put up, the accolades he's received in just a short 6-year window. He's done everything from took them to the Western Conference Finals, to the finals, has kind of rebuilt this team post Dirk era. So I did think these comments were a little strange, and he hasn't been there as much as other people have to even know this information. He hasn't spent much time in Dallas from the moment that he kind of took over the team. So I thought this was a little weird. I didn't love it. I don't like them kind of kicking Luka on the way out, everything he's done for this franchise, and how people quickly forget they weren't the finals last year. Like they were in the NBA finals last year against the big bad Celtics, and who were just a better team. They could have possibly won an NBA championship last year because of Luka. So I don't love the narrative. I don't love these comments, but I guess you kind of have to say things like this to help yourself move on and justify the trade.
Well, yeah, because you got protests and people are angry and there are death threats, and I think they're trying to cover themselves, Danny. But the work ethic thing, it's a big deal in sports. What do you think of the comments?
I thought it was interesting as well. And when I read, I don't know if we have it here, he listed a bunch of players, other players.
He did.
From the past, and none of them were Mavericks. So that was what
he listed. By the way, Danny, just so you know, he listed Jordan, Bird, Kobe, and Shaq. Those were the guys he listed as having amazing work
It's
ethic.
like, if you don't have that with them, you can't be part of the Dallas Mavericks culture. And it's like, all right, none of those guys were part of the Dallas Mavericks culture. So now if you listed Dirk, that makes sense, and a bunch of other Dallas Mavericks. But yes, to list the other guys that played for other organizations. But we get the point of what you're trying to say. And so I think this was just a justification of why the deal happened, or why you allowed this deal to happen, because the city was not happy about it. And I'm going to say tearing it down, but
I think the Carlisle stuff also, I think knowing their banter and their relationship, I think people kind of ran with this. This wasn't like a serious comment he was saying to his former coach, Rick Carlisle. But I do expect him to be on this revenge tour. I will be betting next season that he wins the MVP. Like, I think this is his chance to I think he goes nuts. I think he feels disrespected. I feel like he's offended. And he should be. I feel like me, Danny, Lou, we all would be if we were him in this situation after 6 months ago being in the finals with this team, surprisingly discreetly being traded. It was just a weird situation. So I fully expect him to get in the best shape of his life, hire whoever he has to hire to change or to keep what he's been doing, because that's been kind of working as well, and be an absolute monster the rest of this season and going into next.
I mean, being disrespectful, I don't think anyone disagrees with you. He 100% should feel disrespected. Whether or not he turns that into the revenge tour, I think we're all excited to see. Charles Barkley thinks that he's going to have a bit of a hard time, however, playing with LeBron, because he's going to have the ball in his hands less than he ever has before. Chandler, do you agree?
No, I completely disagree. He just played with Kyrie Irving, who's another ball-dominant guard and if you remember, a couple of years ago when the trade first happened, they were bad. And we were talking about, dang, Kyrie's going to leave in the summer. This doesn't work. They're two alphas that need the ball in their hands. And again, I keep alluding, they went to the finals last year with two ball-dominant guards that love to be the number one option. So no, I disagree. And I think that LeBron James at 40 years old, he knows he can be the number one option on certain nights, and he will be. But he was on record saying this is Anthony Davis's team before. This is now clearly Luka's team before. So there's going to be an adjustment period for both, and you're going to have that balance and find that. And that comes down to all of them. Comes down to Austin Reeves. Comes down to JJ Redick, kind of putting them in the right situation. But LeBron James is professional enough, good enough, smart enough to realize that this transition's going to be hard. And again, this is Luka's team moving forward, and we all got to do whatever we can do to get that kind of transition expedited and get us back to like an elite championship contending team, which they could be.
What do you think, Danny?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think they'll figure it out. It's going to take some time, like it did with Kai. I think Kai and LeBron are very different types of ball dominant guys. They brought a bunch of guys in throughout the years to try to lengthen LeBron's career and get him off the ball more. They brought in Russell Westbrook. They brought in D'Angelo Russell. They brought in Dennis Schroeder. They brought in all these guys, and ultimately it didn't change Bron's role. He's going to continue to do what he does, and he's going to be on the ball. So I think it might be harder for Bron to adjust to Luka than the other way around. But ultimately, they both will figure it out. They're very good players. They've been playing for a long time. And, you know, we've seen sound bites of Bron when he, I guess, was off the ball a lot, when he had Austin and D'Lo. I think it was against that Warriors series when he was kind of, you know, Draymond was like, we can't figure Bron out. You know, he's playing different positions. He's slashing. He can do that, but I don't know how much he would want to do it and for how long. So I think, you know, they showed some times where he was a little frustrated. You know, I'm out there still, you know, I'm on the floor. I can still hoop. So we'll see how that happens or how it works out. But ultimately, I think end of the day, it's going to take some time, but they will figure it out. But it will be an adjustment for both players. I think more so Bron than it would be Luka.